All right, everybody. So my name's David. I'm starting a channel where I do a whole bunch of different stuff. But for this series, which I'm very passionate about, I'm going to be interviewing people who have different disorders. The point is to destigmatize them and humanize the people afflicted with them. Um, Also, it's best to watch this from a non-judgmental, unbiased point of view. We're trying to empathize with people and put ourselves in. I'm trying to put myself in other people's shoes, and I hope you could do the same. So, with that being said, I have my friend Jake. Jake, introduce yourself.
Hi, hey Dave. I'm Jake. Me and David have been friends for right now, like over a decade, right?
It has to be. Well, I graduated in '09, and I
Hmm.
knew you in middle school, if I'm
Yeah,
correctly correct. I came to Westlake like seventh grade.
yeah,
So it's been 15 years at least.
yeah. At least, man.
Longer than that. It actually, bro, it actually might be two, to be honest. It's going on two.
Yeah, and I'm glad that we reconnected through Facebook, man. That's gotta be
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I remember I added you or you added me years ago, and I was like, bro, I haven't seen Jake in a long time, man.
Hell
I
yeah.
know yeah, we used to see each other a lot in high school. But all right, so yeah, tell the people what you got going on,
All right.
what's
So
what's your full name,
yeah, my name's
where
Jake Kussmaul. Um, I'm 31 years old. I'm gonna be 32 in January. And my disorder that I have is I was born with cerebral palsy, and that's a neurological disorder that affects my mobility. So as a result, I'm in a wheelchair.
when were you diagnosed with it?
So I was diagnosed at a year old, and the way that my mom could tell that quote unquote something was wrong was when I think it had to do with my balance. So I was on my back one day, and the typical milestone that you're supposed to achieve in those circumstances is being able to sit up on your own, from your back. I've seen people do it, but they lift their backs up into a sitting position, and I can only get it like a quarter of the way. But like, and then I would go back down, and my mom was like, "Oh, what's going on?" So she took me to a doctor, yeah, when I was like a year old. And yeah, it turns out that I have mild cerebral palsy. The very specific characterization of it is spastic diplegia, which affects both my legs. That's what it means. Di means two. And then there's some contention with plegia because, when it comes to like paraplegia, that's a completely different thing. Uh,
Yeah, there's
I,
like there's three. There's spasticity,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
ataxia,
yeah, 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 yeah,
and then I think dystonia or dyskinetic,
yeah,
something like
yeah.
that.
Something, yeah, related to dystonia. Like again, with the extent of mobility is affected in different ways.
Okay.
Yeah,
So and and like you said, diplegia is two
yeah, yeah. Two limbs.
two
Two
limbs.
limbs are like basically on my right side. Um, so and but see, the strange thing is my right hand is also affected. It can only turn halfway around. So it's like more like die and a half.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like two and a half instead of like
And it's like
four.
two, yeah, so it's like two and a half. So I'm like 31 years old, going on 32, and it's like I have fucking 70-year-old limbs.
Oh man, no.
Not quite, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Yeah, no. And it's not, it's a treatable condition, but it's not curable, right?
Yeah. So yeah, that's the contention with that, because it stems from the brain being damaged. It's not a result of a virus. It's not like a hereditary thing. It's not like a viral thing. It happened as I was born. So I don't know, but my brain bled, and so the movement centers in my body were damaged, and so that stifled my movement, and I was born 3 months premature, and as a result of that, I had breathing problems. I had to like get a steroid for my lungs, and then because I had bronchopulmonary dysplasia, and
I've never heard of that.
and so with that, yeah. So I'm just learning about all this stuff too. It's kind of weird, but that's what happened to me, and I had like tons of physical therapy. Funny thing I should mention is when I was younger, they used to have like Botox. You'd be able to use Botox on your feet
Oh
to
man.
ease the mobility issues, but we stopped being able to afford it because our insurance doesn't cover it anymore, and it never did. That's when they transitioned to cosmetics instead of like
Oh, okay. So at a certain time, okay, I didn't know this. So at a certain time, Botox was
it was good for me
actually
because it allowed me to move better.
okay,
It allowed
it was
me
invented. So it was invented for that reason, and then it became, oh, we can also use it for Hollywood
yeah,
actors
for wrinkles, like
to
instead
look
of
like
like
25-year-old, they look like 25-year-old lizards. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
yeah.
I got that from Bill Burr.
Oh yeah, he's hilarious,
Yeah.
man. But
Yeah. Okay. So the
so you
Botox
got the
helps you
idea.
move better.
Yeah. So you got the idea. So yeah,
Yeah.
back in the day, Botox used to help me move better.
Hmm.
But when I couldn't get that, I just started doing like tons of physical therapy and trying to sustain it for myself, with workouts, with exercises as an adult, because when you reach 21, you like age out of the physical therapy system. And the only way that you can get physical therapy again is if you injure yourself. So that goes to show that even the cripples can become crippled, man.
Oh man, no. Yo.
That's it, man. I
That's so
remember
crazy,
throwing
bro.
out my
That's so
back,
crazy.
trying to like turn around to like put my phone down on like this
Yeah.
charger, and like I was like, I guess I need physical therapy now.
You about to just like fall out of the wheelchair on purpose. Oh,
Yeah, and
I got
then
injured.
break both hips, practically dead. That's
I got injured a little bit more. I need some help. Give me
yeah,
free help, please.
yeah, and it's like check below. Okay, we're good. All right, the goods are good.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Yeah.
So growing up, like with all that going on, since you had it at once, so you basically have had this issue obviously your whole life now, 30
Yeah.
years at least. Well, your whole life, but
Yeah.
you've known about it, or before you even were even conscious, aware enough to know about it.
Okay.
You know about it.
So
So what is that like? So what is that
yeah.
like? What is that
So
like? To be consciously aware about.
coming to terms with it, coming to terms with finding out
Yeah.
what it is. Okay, so oddly enough, my mom didn't tell me until I was 11. 11. So I was diagnosed at 1, not at birth, 1. And it wasn't told that I had this until I was 11. So during that transition, I was under the assumption that people some people were in wheelchairs and some people weren't. And that's it.
Oh no, yeah, that's crazy because you have no idea. You obviously have seen by the time you're 11 years old, you obviously have seen other people in wheelchairs, but to not have a reason, exact reason why you're, to, you're not as functional as people who like, can, walk around and stuff. That has to,
run
that's
marathons
like,
and
that's
shit.
like the, I mean, well, no, nothing against your mother. I'm sure she's a wonderful
Yeah,
woman.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure she was just trying to help you and
Yeah,
has
yeah,
her own ways of trying to do that.
yeah.
Telling a kid they're different like that but that's like the ultimate gaslight to like not
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
you know what I'm
Under
saying?
normal circumstances, that's what it is. But
Yeah,
when you get older, especially, this is just one point of that, you kind of learn to empathize with her. Well, it was, overwhelming for her having to go through all that and having to raise me and like noticing that, inevitably it's going to hold me back in some way.
yeah,
We can't pretend like I'm totally invincible from it. And it's gonna be like it still is a huge part of my life.
yeah. So, okay, so you're 11 now,
Mhm.
and you're about to be in middle school soon. You get into middle school, you get into high school. Now you know what's going on with your condition.
Yeah, yeah,
How what was it? I mean, I was with you in school,
yeah, yeah.
so I kind of obviously I might personally know, but for obviously the people who are watching, I'm sure most of the people that are watching this are either are afflicted or have cerebral palsy, or
Ballsy.
it's palsy. Sorry, it's I think it's my accent, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah,
I got a very thick New York accent. Palsy, palsy. Most people that are watching it either have it, and have a friend or a family member that has it, or maybe they just found out their child has it. So like, I mean, for you being in school, what was it like? How did you view yourself? How did you view others? How do you think others viewed you?
So, having to do with the transition from elementary to middle school, it was kind of all right, because I
Mhm.
wasn't actually the odd one out, and I tried to kind of surmise what the whole thing was about, because on one on one end you want and kind of expect people to be friend with you for the notion that they're going to be your friend, or they're going to be a, a big part of your life, um, to some like varying kind of lengthy degree of time. But um, on the other hand, you're like, are these people being friendly with me just to like kiss my ass or something?
Yeah,
Something like that.
yeah. So like some people would subconsciously might try to make feel themselves feel better because they have sympathy for you or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. So they
But
play the good Samaritan role. And like, so as far as that, I didn't really like, I wasn't, even if they might have been playing that role, I wasn't really even conscious of that in middle school. I was like happy go lucky good kid. And then, you know, uh 14, when I turned 14, high school, and you all know,
yeah.
those of you watching, it's a whole different fucking ball game.
Especially, man, Westlake was no joke, man. The like the social hierarchy, the trying to find your own identity, and you're not even aware of who you really are yet, but you're viewing all these other people like they know who they are yet. And there's popular kids, there's not so popular kids, there's all different groups of people, whatever you want to like put, whatever category you want to put on them or label. And it's a rough time. It was a rough 4 years for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like, I
So
wasn't the
yeah,
most popular kid. So like how? So yeah. So how was it for
so you and
you?
I, there was a lot of, so you and I, we grew up. This was during the time of like 05 to 07, that was during the emo days, the emo and scene days. There was a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah, yeah. The
emo and
emo
scene
days.
kids with the skinny jeans and the hair flopped to
Yeah,
the side part, the
your brother,
side
your brother,
comb.
your brother, your brother was the ultimate. He was the
Yeah,
best
the
at it.
king.
No one was better than him at that, bro.
Yeah, there was him. There was the Orpheus brothers. There was like Steve Wayne did that shit with his hair. Everybody
Yeah,
did, and like it was good on girls, and I had you know tons of crushes, but that was the thing. I still felt very alienated, and that's when I was aware, because up until this point, from kindergarten to middle school to high school, I was the only kid in the chair. There was no like, there might have been like people who went on my bus who were temporarily recovering from like an accident or something, like broke their
yeah,
leg or something, and then
yeah.
recovered. But um, like predominantly, I was the only kid in a chair like all those years, and it really did sink in. What I'm trying to say is, uh, at first, elementary, middle school, I wasn't really conscious of it. But now in high school, the big time, your hormones are going crazy. Uh, you're like the ultimate horn dog.
I like to sell. I was young, dumb, and full of cum, man.
Yeah, that's it. That's perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect
it's
statement.
actually. I'm pretty sure it's like a Big L line. I stole that from Big L, I think. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Big L's the man. But yeah, around that time, I really started feeling kind of alienated. And I'm the music man. I know tons of music from around the world.
Yeah. I remember that. I do actually.
Yeah. So like I know tons of music from around the world. A lot of bands in Asia were like really getting their start. So I was like, well, a lot of action is happening from Japan over to, the United States. I know like some Filipino bands that I've gotten, you know, close with just, through messaging. And I'm like, maybe I'll put those guys on and like pass the music out and see. I'm like, I I only got like very few bites, and even then, it was the strangest experience ever, because it's like, thank you for introducing me to a band that I'm unfamiliar with, but at the same time, they don't really thank me for it. They're just happy that they have a band to like call their own.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not really like giving credit for it,
Is that
and I
still like a hobby?
noticed,
Is that still a hobby of yours?
as far
Music?
as like telling people to check out new music, I do it all the time. I mean, I do it because I'm a journalist on the publication Music Existence, and I interview a lot of artists from around the world. And yeah,
No, that's amazing. That's amazing, man.
yeah, and so that's part of my vocation of sorts. But yeah, that's the thing. So I'm really into music. So um, when I noticed like these friendships would form with these people, I noticed that my friendship was only known between me and that person.
You're
From
talking about now. You're talking about school.
Yeah, school.
Okay.
So yeah, in school, I noticed like my friendships were only between me and the person who initiated the friendship, or who was kind of warming up to my invitation of friendship. But either way, it kind of felt isolating, because when it came to like coming around other people, they were like trying to distance themselves from me, like, oh
So
shit,
like
I don't want
people.
to see. I don't want to be seen with a big wheelchair or something.
Oh, okay. So what you're saying is people would privately come up to you, socialize with you, talk with you, maybe get to know you a little bit, and then they would, once they're around other people and their friends, then they would be like, oh, well, I don't know this guy. Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
it's like
fucking,
something
I'm
like
out of
that.
here,
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I
and
got. Okay.
and like regardless how close we got, it wasn't like a point for them to say like, I should at least like bring them around a little bit and say like, hey, this is Jake or something. And
Yeah, like yo, this is my guy Jake. You know, he's good. He's
yeah,
good people's. You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah. And
introduce. Hey,
that
this
was
is
it.
Clara. This is Clara.
And
This is Mike. This is
no,
Fred.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But like
And
in
people, but you felt like people were resistant to doing that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So and it became like a huge thing. So like they like the idea of me. They like the idea of me being positive and like, warm and, connecting. But when it comes to what, my 3 months premature stature, 5'4" in a wheelchair, nah, you ain't playing with that.
Nah.
That's it. They just gonna look at me. They're like, "Ah, hell, I ain't
Yeah,
touching that."
that's crazy, man. So you obviously, so then you felt, like you said, alienated, isolated, lonely. Did that come along with a certain depression? Because
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
Oh,
trying to get
big
a
time.
view of your mental health then, later on, now, most importantly. But so at the time you felt, so yeah, depression came along with that.
Yeah, yeah. Of course. Yeah, big time. Um, yeah.
How did
The
it make you
time.
feel about how did it make you feel about yourself?
It made me feel insignificant. Like I was only able to be in someone's life to a limited capacity, and it's gutting, because like you see like these guys like you see like the friendships you develop with these guys, and then the things that they're doing with their other friends, and a lot of shit like happens in your mind. Like, I wonder how close I have to get to this person in order to achieve that level of ease, that level of friendship. So like in like the broadest of terms, like my wheelchair becomes secondary, but it never really did. It was always like an issue, like, oh, like, and I didn't have anything like paratransit at the time, or some transit thing I can call to scoot around to different places. um
Yeah.
I just had me, and like I had to like rely on someone. I had an aide who I'm still in contact with to this day, Colin, and but he has his own life. He's doing other stuff now. But back when he used the
Shout
back
out to Colin. I remember Colin.
yeah, yeah, you
He was a
remember
nice guy.
Colin.
Shout out to Colin, man. Shout
Yeah,
out to Colin.
yeah. I mean, you remember him, but so I would have to like rely on him to like get me to like certain places just where I can hang out. And then, but even then, it was like everyone has different levels of friendships. And when I was younger, I didn't really take kindly to that. I was just like, well, like it made me feel like
You had
anyone who had,
resentment.
yeah,
You had resentment towards
yeah,
people.
yeah, towards people who I thought were of like a higher caliber than I was,
Okay. Because
because
you
they
said
had like
you felt
more,
insecure.
they had more opportunities, they had more to take for granted as far as like walking from point A to point B, but also, succeeding in like these theoretical steps of pillars, like they can do that. And I was just in a total like comparison mode. And I know as you grow older, as you mature, that kind of mindset doesn't affect you as much. You kind of just roll with the punches anyway.
Yeah, I'll say, and I'm sure everyone watching this can agree with it. High school is a brutal place. I was just telling I have a group chat with some of my siblings, with all my siblings and their significant others. So there's six of us, and then there's two in-laws, my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law. And I was telling them because we just put my little sister into the group chat, and she's only 15, and I'm, for YouTube, I'm trying to be a very censor myself, but I speak like a sailor. You already know,
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
this. So I have to also, when I'm in the group chat, not do that as much. And I was telling them, like, but even if I accidentally slip, and my sister has said this previously, my little sister, the 15-year-old,
Yeah.
she was like, I hear worse in high school, like, and I was stating that again, but overall, high school is just a brutal place when it comes to, like you said, comparing yourself to others. People do that nonstop in high school, probably into their mid-20s, probably into their 30s,
Yeah, yeah.
but because of your situation, it's like a different level of comparison,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it
Because it's
affects
like
you,
it's not
affects you right here.
right,
It
right.
affects you right here in a deeper
It,
way.
yeah, it's not exactly. And it's not just like oh, this person isn't my friend. It's uh I didn't resonate with this person enough for him to, or whatever girl I was into at the time, for this person to see my challenges and really make the effort to understand and accept them. Like that was the extra level that I had to deal with that, other people didn't.
So
Um,
how did you overcome that mentally? Like eventually, I mean, if you even have to this day, but what kind of, for other people that might be in your shoes watching, how how did you, because to me when I speak to you, you seem like such a, your spirits are lifted more than mine, and like you said, I might have more to take for granted, in your point of view than yeah, I might have more, but how how exactly do I want to phrase it? Yeah, what did you do, if you have, to overcome those steps?
um, so I just, it's like still on the grim side, but it's a bit humbling though. So, it's
Okay.
still good. Um, I just realized that I wasn't the most important person in another person's life. And then through realizing that, I wouldn't be as affected by those like giant like discrepancies that are obvious to me as far as like the dynamics of other people's friendship and kind of internalizing mine as like forever inferior compared to everyone else.
Okay. Well, if you said it's still on the grim side, so obviously you still struggle with it.
Yeah,
But
yeah. It's
but
but
but you have
but
you have
I've gotten a lot. I've gotten a lot better.
okay, good. I'm proud.
Yeah,
I'm proud.
yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, the only thing I was emphasizing as grim was because it wasn't like, oh, I found this really good aromatherapy combination, or oh, I took this meditating thing and saw a higher power and saw the light.
I
I
took some
was just,
shrooms one night, man, and then I
yeah,
was
trips
just
from one man, and I was enlightened. I was actually time. No, it wasn't anything like that. But that's the thing. I just noticed, like, well, there's like I'm just like a kind of a smidge on this whole planet. And then even though it sounds kind of defeatist, um,
it's humbling.
yeah, it gave me yeah, exactly. It gave me like a much broader outlook. Like your friendship or your relationship or whatever fling, bada bing, whatever you have, it may look kind of outwardly different compared to everyone else, but it's nuanced. It has its nuances, and you know, focus on that. focus on those nuances. And, you know, for those who always try to slight you and spite you, like similar kind of thing. Like, notice these lack of nuances with these other people and kind of judge from there. But at the same time, you can't keep holding those grudges. If you feel like lesser than somebody, you just gotta keep moving.
Yeah, no, I tell people that all the time. Like you can't hold grudges. You only I posted something like this on Instagram the other day. I like to post daily quotes. I've been doing it for like 2-3 weeks now, and I try to come up with something every day to post to make people think. And I said something along the lines. I'm like, you know, you can't. It's only if you hate somebody else forever, or you hold a grudge for somebody against somebody else forever, you're only hurting yourself at the end of the day. You know,
Yeah.
it's good to, you know, say you have a falling out with an ex or whatever. It's good to grieve. It's good to, you know, go through the motions. But once you hold that hatred or
When
those
you're
grudges
airing
in your
that
heart,
out for like the 5th year in a row, like,
yeah, then it's like you're only hurting yourself, your own mental health, like, you
and I
know.
noticed that, and I did used to post a lot more. I was a lot more not angry, and especially not fucking incel label angry, but I was agitated and
Yeah.
anxious and like worried about, like, you know, how I'd be seen by others, because the stigma around what I already have is so much, it's still rampant, you know, and
So
people
let's hold on. Yeah, let's get into that. Let's get into that.
yeah,
The misconceptions. The misconceptions.
yeah. So the main misconception with cerebral palsy is for certain instances of pronounced mobility, especially where the person's speech is affected, it's led people to misconstrue their they're working at like working at gathering the strength to even muster a couple of words. Like, people might see that like overbearing strength and just see like he's really struggling, he's pitiful, like he lacks the ability to say whatever he's going to say. So
Well, anybody that looks at you in that way,
yeah,
their opinion or point of view of you is invalid from the start. Like
yeah.
the second you realize that someone else views you in that type of way, that's not even someone you want around your life in the first place. So like, what's
Yeah,
the point? You know what I'm saying? There are
yeah,
people that do have a heart. There's ignorant people, not ignorant as in rude, like the Webster definition of ignorant, like people that just don't know. So they might not understand. Oh, this person isn't. This person that just has a physical impairment. He doesn't have uh, a mental disorder of some kind. But
yeah,
that doesn't mean that, you know, but they don't also don't take the time to come up to you and talk to you, right? To
yeah,
even
yeah.
find that out in
That's
the
the
first
thing.
place.
It's just all that's what I figured out. Like when I would meet friends with someone, I felt like that instant kind of distance. You know, we got along good initially, but then there's the distance. Like, not like, oh, like, gotta meet up with Jake, or oh, I wonder what Jake's doing. It's I probably know what Jake's doing, or yeah, it's Jake, I guess I'll talk to him. Not like, oh, it's Jake, I want to talk to him. It's like
Yeah.
Jake's always there, you know, just what the fuck is he doing? You know, like, what could he be doing, like, with the circumstances that he has? What, does he just sit in his room all day and like what, jerk off or something?
Oh, by the way, man, by the way, all my ladies out there, just know, you know, we already talked about this. If you're wondering,
Yeah,
yes, my guy can do his thing. So, you know, feel free. I'm gonna tag him, all that in this video. Holla at my boy. But I
let's
wanted to,
do
you know,
it.
get that out there. I wanted to get that out there. That's
Let's
another
do it.
comment. That's
Let's do
another
it.
That's another
Thanks, man.
misconception, right? That's another misconception that your thing might not,
Yeah, that's the and yeah, and you're my assistant right now. Lead me to a good point. So that's another thing. So what I was trying to let me get back to what I was trying to say, and then
Yeah, sorry.
but when I what I was trying to say is, so depending on what's affected, how the person is affected, in instances where their speech is affected, obviously you're going to have difficulties. You're going to be stuttering a lot more. You're going to sound like you have less air in your lungs. So you might sound like this, but it's
Yeah, is that
that's
because
kind of,
it's hard to vocalize?
yeah, it's harder, and it's harder to move your mouth muscles. See, when their mouth muscles are like stiff and they have that, they're hard to move. So like a lot of people, like with that extent of the condition, sometimes they talk like this, and
Oh,
that's why, see, that's why when it's slow, when it's labored, when it's slurred, they assume that, those people are like cognitively impaired.
but they're not. But they're not. They can
But they,
think. They think like in the
they
normal
think, yeah,
sentences,
they think,
but
yeah, and
they just have problems getting it
when you
out.
yeah, and when they type, like it's like as if a normal person is typing.
Yeah, copy. Okay, so all right.
So that,
Okay.
yeah, so that's the thing. So when it comes to um like my like functions, so yeah, so those parts aren't affected, and I was always kind of worried because so many, I remember getting with this girl back in the day, and she would always, even when I would clarify for her, like, no, this is cerebral palsy, it's something different. It's stiffness. It's not full paralysis. It's just like stiff muscles. Then she was half though too. But yeah, back in the day, and I guess she's even hotter because time goes by. But you know what I mean? Like they stay on that level of, they want to stay on that level of ignorance. Like when I talk to them about something, especially something like very intimate, it's like no, I have cerebral palsy. And then what does this girl do? She still believes that I'm paralyzed in some way.
Oh, okay.
She still wants to believe, like, for some reason, and that's happened with like a lot of people, excluding you because you're good, but with a lot of people, I guess they feel like this like superiority complex. Like I'll be trying to talk to them, talk about a certain point, especially like when it relates to my disability, and then they would say like, well, normally I would glean this much information that he told me, but because it's him saying it and not like this better looking person, or this better, like this more easy to look at person saying it, then like it's invalid.
Yeah.
It's like, and that's what and it's like when I was looking at that kind of phenomenon, I was like, is that why you never see uh, a disabled guy like playing guitar, like performing, like singing, like having a music career? You never see that. You never see disabled strippers. You never see disabled people working at offices or like behind a counter, or running a corner store, running a tattoo parlor, pizza parlor, whatever the hell. Like you just have this kind of inkling that they're confined in some way, and then that like sticks with you for some reason. It never occurs to you like, oh, this guy is like capable of holding down a job and like getting his like shit together, is like
I'll
finances
tell you. I'll
together.
tell you what. I'll tell you what. Your job is better than mine. But yeah, no. People are. I probably shouldn't say this, but people are just stupid, bro. Like people are just sometimes. Like I'm kind of an overthinker, or I think on levels. So I'll come up. I always look at both sides of the coin. So I see one side of the coin, and I immediately in a millisecond have to think, okay, so what's the other side? What's this?
Yeah,
So then that's the reason why I decided to do this, because the way I realized the way I think isn't how most people think. I'm not saying that I'm smarter than people. No,
right.
that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I can
Exactly.
empathize very well with people, because I can always, when people come to me, I realize people come to me for advice all the time. And
Yeah.
then they would always say like I give good advice. So I started realizing it's because I'm able to empathize with people so well. I can, as long as I'm given the right context, I can put myself in your shoes and give you the right advice. But I'll let you know, if you take this advice, this might happen, and if you take this advice, that might happen. So choose
Yeah, yeah,
wisely,
yeah.
But
Yeah,
people aren't
yeah,
capable
yeah.
of doing that. So when people approach you, and you tell them what it is, they probably don't even take 30 minutes out of their day. Because I researched it for about an hour last night, because I procrastinate with everything. I work 60 hours a week. I didn't have
Right.
time. And plus, I figured it's best I don't know and you tell me, so I can come from the point of view of the viewer that doesn't
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
But,
yeah.
you
That's
know,
another point of contention too, because a lot of people just, they just measure these people from those feel good videos on social media and like the feel good videos on TV saying like, I just want to help people, and then that gets cemented in people's minds, so that even when you see someone with a different degree of the thing, you're like, 2 + 2 isn't 4. This doesn't add up.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
what,
yeah, yeah. I
what
tell
the
people all the
fuck?
time, there's different spectrums to all the, whether it's a physical impairment,
Yeah, yeah. Like
whether it's a mental
Christy,
disorder, there's spectrums of it. There's severe, and then there's not so severe.
yeah, there's mild, and like uh good
It's all like
example.
hot sauce. There's mild, medium, and spicy.
Yeah, yeah. I never want fuck that, yeah. Yeah, exactly. But so yeah, in terms of severity and in terms of a success story, um there's this guy, Irish author and painter, Christy Brown, and he had
How do you spell that?
severe.
Is it how, Christie or Y?
Why? Like
Okay.
Christy, like Christopher. Oh, for fuck's sake, Christopher.
Are
But
you Scottish, bro? Are you Scottish or
no,
Irish?
no, Irish. I just did a DNA test. I have Irish and English blood, and
Oh, 100%.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Oh,
I
that's
know.
dope.
So like this guy, Christy Brown, he's a painter and author from Ireland, and he got those biddies too. You know what I mean? Like he knew his way around, but
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. But it's like, so he was born with, a severe extent, but his mom believed in him. So she was throwing like Charles Dickens novels and like getting him to like learn it that way, giving him like the best and the biggest books. And he was, like we were talking about, he was didactic. He
Yeah, yeah,
absorbed
yeah.
that shit. He took it all in.
Yeah.
And that's how he was able to, not just Dickens, but with all these other authors, he was able to craft his own writing style. He only had control of his left foot. A lot of people were like, oh, that's the only thing he was able to move. No, that's the only thing he was able to control. Control is different than movement. Like you
Yeah.
can move something, but with limited control. And he had
So he
full
was like
control.
3.5.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, but he also had trouble talking. But man, like even for that time, like he was like was a charming dude. He was a handsome dude. And like and I wish like people would like see that. But they
Yeah.
just, but even, you know, if that person is vaguely attractive, you know, he even if that person is vaguely attractive, you're like, you kind of deduce things and you're like, this ain't gonna work. Like,
Yeah. No, I
like,
mean, I might sound a little, I might sound, I've seen some pretty girl, I've seen some pretty girls in wheelchairs, and
yeah, I
that
know. They're
don't just
all on
have a leg
Instagram. They're
broken. You
getting
know what I'm saying?
sponsorships and they're showing the titties.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
But
stupid.
that's it. And I love it. And that actually inspired me. That actually
Yeah.
inspired me to see, well, not just like the palsy bitches, but a lot of them are fibros and like, you know, all this autoimmune shit. So like, you know, it's a similar thing, especially if they have it a long time. But
Hmm.
in seeing that like gave me more hope in like building those connections and like totally seeing like, okay, it's not nearly as bad as I thought it is, as far as like finding someone to really share those experiences. And it goes both ways, you know. Sometimes people are looking for a lot more, and depending if this is a girl that you're sharing your situation with or just a friend, it's like, just because you may have the same disability or similar perspective given the differences of your disabilities,
Hmm.
that doesn't mean necessarily that you'll automatically connect. It's the same like kind of getting to know you kind of awkwardness that that, you know, any able-bodied person would have. You know, just because you may be in a wheelchair, you'd say like, oh shit, you automatically understand um like 70% of the shit that I got going on already. But you
Okay.
know,
Okay. I get what you're saying.
yeah, other times like it doesn't happen, and it's just like, well,
So you're saying someone that
whatever.
you're talking to someone else also in a similar situation as
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
and then just getting past the differences in personality,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know? Okay, okay.
yeah. But it's but see, and another misconception is that, well, he's crippled, he must have crippled friends, but I don't really. I have, well, I
Yeah, don't you
shouldn't
don't
say
if you
I
have a
don't.
couple friends, they're gonna watch this video and be like, oh,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
doesn't
you're
have
gonna
any
be
crippled
watching it. They're
friends.
gonna be, fuck you,
Okay,
Jake. Come
I
on.
see you, Jake.
I see. That's how it is. But yeah, I have like, yeah, and I'm estimating this, but I'm being truthful. I only have a small number of friends in wheelchairs, and that's not by choice. It's because like whoever I connect with, I connect with. You know, so
Okay.
it's just coincidental. If they're in a wheelchair, fine. If they're not in a wheelchair, that's also fine. You know, like, and that's how people should view life and view connections and relationships. You know, it shouldn't matter like whether your friends, whether you really intend and put the effort in making friends with someone in a wheelchair or not. They're not saying, please take care of me, please wipe my shit, please cook my food, please everything. It's not a commitment. They're just a friend. Just make your intentions clear, for God's sake.
Yeah. If you're talking about girls, bro, I mean, I'll say something else. I only have a few friends either. I mean, I don't want to say the wrong thing. Oh, David, you only have 3 friends? And I mean, well, I have people that I treasure dear to my heart that are literally like family to me,
Yeah,
probably like 3, 4 people. And then I have, some friends outside of that that I'm cool with that, I would, if they were getting jumped in the street, I would jump into,
yeah,
I hold them to that regard. And then I have, just people I'm cool with, like acquaintances. But really, when like I keep my circle small,
yeah,
very small. But for what you were saying earlier, if you're talking about when you're talking to a girl or whatever, I will tell you, girls are the most confusing beings on this planet. And I don't mean anything against any of my ladies
Yeah,
when I
yeah,
say that. I don't mean any, I'm not trying to be sexist,
yeah,
misogynistic,
yeah.
nothing. Females to me are so confusing. And it's funny, my coworker with the other, literally, yes, 2 days ago, was telling me how she was looking at her phone. She's like, guys are just so confusing. And I looked at her and I was like, guys are confusing. Girls are confusing. And she said, we're going back and forth. We're repeating this like 3, 4, 5 times.
Oh
And then so
man.
she gives me some examples of why guys are confusing. Then I give her some good examples why girls are confusing. And then we
Yeah.
both looked at each other like, all right, yeah, we're both
Oh shit.
just, like guys, girls, we're all confusing. I know there's plenty of girls out there that are like, girls aren't confusing. We make our intentions clear. We know what we want. It's not
Oh,
our fault
yeah,
that
yeah.
guys just can't think of this and think of this and put it together in one. Like,
And
no,
it's a very similar thing, especially me, like going up to this point with relationships or friendships, it's, at least from my view, I can hardly tell like when a person is starting like a sincere connection with me. Like, okay, we're not close friends yet, or we're not close friends at all, but you're still good. We're still good. You know, with
yeah.
with a lot of friends, it's like, you know, as I was mentioning, embracing the idea of me, but not my reality. So like what I mean by that is
So
when
that
it
they
comes,
separate the two.
yeah,
They separate the
yeah,
two
they
instead of
separate the
combining
two.
together and looking at you as a full picture.
Yeah, yeah. It's seldom the full picture. So what I'm saying is like when it comes to friends or girls, when they find themselves uncomfortable and like seeing somebody like me and trying to adjust like their perception of me, what they do is they, like I said, ingratiate themselves to me. They kiss my ass. When they introduce themselves to me, they already feel like they have me figured out, and um, it's like, okay, we're getting along good, but then you find out that this person isn't really gravitating toward you for you. They're gravitating toward you because you have something, and it's not like the thing, it's not like
Yeah.
wink, it's not like nudge nudge. I'm saying like you provide them stimulation. You provide them like some sort of like stimulation, whether it's
An
a
ego
distraction.
booster.
Yeah, ego booster, all of that. Bottom line is you feel like a distraction from their lives rather than an asset to their lives. So,
Ah,
so,
man, a lot
so
of people can relate to
you're
that.
talking, and then you feel like, okay, if I didn't initiate this conversation, will this person like ever follow through? And then you learn how people are. Like,
Yeah.
oh shit, he didn't follow through, or that girl didn't follow through. But each time it's like, okay, like was this person just around me until it didn't stimulate them enough anymore, until like I was being still consistent, still like same energy, but nothing downer or anything. But it's like for some reason like they like dipped, and like all of a sudden it's like, wait, where'd you go?
So we spoke last week, and you said, I feel like this is a good time to bring it up.
Yeah,
Something about how it's one of the first things you said about how you feel like your prospects are limited. So that means
yeah,
like
yeah,
friendships, love life, just social interactions in general, basically.
yeah, yeah,
So and you're saying, and so, but that would be for basically everything you just said. That's why you feel that way.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why I feel that way. One that's still, I don't think about it all the time, and it doesn't like constantly get me down, but I know like I have this feeling, and this is actually what a lot of people bounce back on me too. Like the fact that if I wasn't in a wheelchair, I'd be capable of achieving so much more and being so much more. And that was actually what my ex-girlfriend was, insinuating. And
How long were you guys together for?
we were together for 4.5 years.
Oh wow, that's like my most recent relationship. That's a long time, bro. That's a long
Yeah,
time.
yeah. And basically she just kept disrespecting my family, like really subtle, really outright. And I couldn't, I again, I couldn't put two and two together. But with any relationship, like the moment you feel challenged, don't like treat it like it's like boring. Don't treat it like you're above it, and because that's what happened to me. The moment, because we actually moved. All right, we moved to Tampa, and we moved to
My dad's side of the
yeah,
family is in
yeah,
Tampa. I've been there
when we
three
moved.
times past year.
Yeah, I was trying to like gather my thoughts. So
Yeah.
when we moved, that was like another thing entirely, because we used to be within proximity of each other. Well, relative. She was in New York City, and I was in Holborn, and she would take the train and come to see me, and we would do our thing. But because of the distance, because the distance became so great, it's like she felt like the illusion, the idea of me was slipping out of her reach. And then as soon as she felt that she was slighted by that, then she started, doing her damage, like saying some shit to my parents, and, saying like, I don't know what your parents think of me now, and I don't care. It's like, who fucking says that?
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
incredibly disrespectful.
no, yeah, trust me. I have issues with sometimes letting people go when I should let them go, whether it's a friend or a
Yeah,
relationship. But you can't tolerate any type of toxicity, abuse, whether it's verbal, physical, any of that. You can't tolerate that in your life. And especially some people, they get into a relationship and they fall more in love with the person than they do with their own, than the love they have for their family. The love for that person becomes greater than the love they have for the family, and they will say, F it, and I will be with this person even though they don't want me to be around my family or they're toxic towards my family. And
yeah,
instead of standing up for their family, so the fact that you chose your family over her is a very commendable thing.
yeah,
That's not okay, bro. And
yeah.
you know,
It's and that's what I try to what I really looked out for. That's how I've grown. When I look out for those, red flags, I refuse to be walked on anymore. Essentially, you're doing the shit that I wish I could, but I can't.
oh nah, nah,
They're
stop, bro.
walking on
I'm
me,
dead.
stomping
I'm
on me.
dead,
I'm
bro.
like
Like I
for
said,
fuck's sake,
you're
guys.
walking over me.
Yeah, I'm walking here.
I'm walking here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm dead,
Exactly,
bro.
exactly. They just keep like, once they find out that kind of like, and then that's the thing, in like assuming that they have me figured out, they also assume that um like what was I gonna say? Like that my feelings for somebody being in their presence are like too simplistic and like too obvious, and like that makes them boring. So like, you know, anyone else, if I was to express my feelings to some girl, she would be like, "Oh, I didn't know you felt that way." Or she would be like, "Fuck you, get out of my
Like,
face."
oh, I only
I
view you as a
didn't, so
friend.
I didn't, the thing is, I didn't get that ridicule. The thing that's really, it feels worse to me than ridicule is total indifference, because if they reciprocated your feelings and said something positive, boom, you're sleeping like a baby, at the
Yeah.
positive thing they said. But with the outright ridicule, you kind of have, even though it's like imaginary and irrational, you kind of have a blueprint for what you can improve on. Like, oh, like that guy, like, or what, whoever, like, said like fuck you to me and do this shit, or good luck with fucking yourself because you're crippled or something like that.
Yeah.
At least that gives you like some
Well, like I said,
guidelines for
anybody that
where
said
you
anything like
fucked
that,
up.
anybody that said anything like that would be crazy anyway. My
Yeah,
bad. I didn't mean to speak over you, but
yeah.
Say what you said again. I'm sorry.
So like, so they misconceive my intentions. So like, when I'd be like waiting around, I wouldn't be like obviously like staring around and loitering, just be waiting for them. And and then they'd say like, oh, he likes me, he's waiting around because he likes me, and he's waiting only for me. And meanwhile, like, when I try to like give someone space to talk, they say like, oh, like, he's, instead of saying he's being gentle with his space, they're saying like he's being meek and he's not speaking up. And like, it's a whole different thing, because again, like, I tried to clarify my intentions and try to clarify where I'm coming from. And it's like, no, it's not it at all. And not saying it in a gaslighting way. I don't deny, I clarify. And that's what people should do. Don't deny,
Hey, bars,
clarify. Yeah, boss.
Yeah, well, so man, I'm 31. I don't have kids. I've never been married. I've had multiple girlfriends, but of course, not all at one time. And I still can't figure women out, bro. So I wish I can give you, I wish I could give you some advice, because, bro, I'm
Yeah.
still trying to figure them
I
out,
mean-
bro. And I don't think I ever will. I'm getting to the point where I don't think I ever will. But I love them. I love them, but man,
I know.
they're
I know,
confusing, bro.
but
It's hard.
that's why, that's another reason why we love them for some reason.
Yeah,
It's not trivial, it's ingrained. It's ingrained. I don't know. It's
yeah, man.
inherent.
Yeah,
I
but
mean, the experience is worth it, because even though it fucks you over in some way, and even though like it, even though it's like unfortunate, it didn't work out the way you wanted to, so what? Like, and the thing that I had to realize, like, you're beyond your chair, because, in 10, 20 years, they're going to get like rocket legs or some shit. They're not going to
I
have
was gonna say that. I was gonna
anymore.
say when you were saying how back then they just had the regular wheelchair, then they had the chairs you could do by yourself. Like eventually in 20, 30, 40, 50 years, people are just gonna have like total, like, like the spine is just going to be filled with some type of liquid that
Fluid that
neurologically
like
fixes you.
that
And you're just
gives
like,
you like crazy movement and
yeah,
stuff.
all the movies we watched in the 90s and 2000s, the 80s are going to come to light.
Yeah, they're gonna
happening.
be like, oh, all right, there's something
Tell
there,
them
but
they need to cure cancer, they need to cure cerebral palsy right after.
yeah, and that's the thing. So then you can actually like, muster what that guy is saying to you. But that's the thing. Like, attitudes have to change. I feel like there's like marginalization of access, but that's not enough, because we're still kind of glossed over. We're still like, in some way, we're out, and whatever potential bro comes up to you is like, I don't want him as a friend. Like, it's too complicated. Or this girl is like, sees him, is just like, I don't see him as a partner. I don't see him as a man. I see him as a fucking chair. And
Yeah, that's rough.
even with that, like, I gotta understand that, like, I'm not my chair. I'm not I'm not like a fucking mech centaur with wheels. I'm not. I'm a human being, and I just happen to be sitting in a chair that happens to have wheels on it.
And that's the point of me doing this, is I'm trying to humanize people with, you know, different disorders, I guess, mental, physical, whatever the case may be. I'm glad, bro. I'm glad you said that, bro. All right, so I don't know. I think we've been going for like an hour and some change now. If what is before we end it off, I want to say I really appreciate your time. I want to thank you, because a lot of people hit me up when I started this idea, but you're the first person that said, "Hey, I could do it on this date, this time." You know, we did a few hours little late because I broke my phone,
Oh
but
shit.
but
Yeah, hope
but
that's good, man.
yeah. But I want to say I really appreciate you for being vulnerable and sharing your experience with the world, because, you know, this can get 100
Absolutely.
views. This can get 100 views, 1,000 views, 100,000. I
It's
don't
out
know.
there. It's out there.
Yeah, you
Sorry,
know,
excuse me.
you know, who
I
knows?
fucking
So
burped, but through my burp, I said it's out there, man. Like,
everybody's gonna get to try to understand your point of view and people that are going through similar experiences. And I think you did a great job of letting. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that have CP
yeah,
and are going to be like, oh man, like he did a great job representing, you know, us, you know,
yeah,
even
yeah. That's good.
like I said us, but, you know, people that are afflicted with this
Yeah,
disorder,
certain
you know what I'm
conditions.
saying?
Because I was telling you about all the girls with the autoimmune diseases and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you could tell people who don't have CP, if you can tell them one thing about maybe the way they view you or what
Yeah.
they might think about you, if you could give off one message that you think would be that everyone that has CP would want to say, what
Okay.
would it be? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
I
If
didn't
you're,
verbalize it too well, but
it's
I'm
good.
trying.
I know what you're saying. What I would say is, if you build a connection with us, if you're sincere in your intentions of building a connection with us, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to think about us, you know, and girls, like, don't be afraid to romanticize us. Don't be afraid to fantasize about us. Don't be
There you
afraid to
go.
like to dream about us. Don't be afraid to express anything. Well, like that can work on like other levels, but you know what I mean? Like, don't be afraid to like, if you have questions and if they happen to initially regard my disability, like, so be it. Like, I'm an open book. What you got to realize is so many people with disabilities aren't, it's not that they're necessarily uncomfortable, but there's just this notion that it could be rude. And like, that's what a lot of people take away from that and like kind of perpetuate is, oh, if we bring this up, then I'd be considered rude. But at the same time, inadvertently, it discourages me from like attempting a conversation at all. But what I want to say is, don't be afraid to think and dream and fantasize about us. We're just normal people. We just happen to have mobility or sensory devices, but I mean, it shouldn't take away from the humanity. My disability, it shouldn't define me, but it does. And this is a two-way street. Like, I sincerely appreciate your help. If little by little, even if it's baby steps at first, it might take a lifetime, but all I'm saying is we need to work together to break away the stigma. And I realize that I'm not enough. Like, I can be as compelling as I can be, but you have to, on your end, open yourself up to thinking like, okay, his presence is as valid as any other person. So I'll think about him as if I'd think about any other person. But the present contention now is even remotely acknowledging anything related to someone's disability is taboo. And
yeah. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to start doing this, because of that reason.
yeah. And like it's not taboo. It's like I'm sitting in a chair, I can sit in a tube, I can sit in like one of those like little school chairs that give you hemorrhoids. I can sit in one.
And baby, you can sit on my lap.
Yeah, goddamn. Good giggity goddamn. But you know what I mean? Like that's the end of it. It's not taboo. I'm just a person with a certain circumstance that you're fully able to choose whether you sincerely want to, or you prefer not to associate with me. That's your call.
All right, yo, that was dope, man. That was really
Yeah.
that was really something, man. I like that whole message. I liked all of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said to everybody watching,
Be honest, be sincere, be upfront.
yeah, be honest, be sincere, be upfront, just be yourself. The same way my guy is my guy's gonna come up to you, he's gonna be himself, and anyone else that is afflicted with, CP.
Or any mobility issue.
Any mobility disorder at all. Yeah. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, anything. So yeah. So that's good, man. I'm glad that we really nicely like wrapped that up. I liked all the transitions.
Yeah.
That we
All right.
did.
So on that note, we're gonna end it. Jake was kind enough to. I'm not technologically gifted at all, so Jake was kind enough to record it on his end and send it to me. But we're gonna wrap this up, guys. I appreciate everyone for watching, especially if you watched this far. I guess I should have probably done this in the beginning. I'm not used to being a YouTuber or anything like that, but click, like, subscribe, comment, whatever, the whole spiel.
Let's keep this going.
Yeah, let's get this going. All right, guys. Adios. I appreciate you.
All right. Yeah. Appreciate you too, man.